We're absolutely honored to have Billy Burnstick with us today. He's a master artist and he's going to be teaching us to make the most incredible headdress. And Billy, welcome.
Thank you very much, Tamara. So basically the first thing that we need is 32 eagle feathers. We need 16 lefts and 16 rights. So basically if you look at the mesh of the feather here, you see what happens a lot of times is the feather get pushed up like this. If you actually take your iron and you put it down, you know, and you push sort of against it, you'll see how it sort of gets wider. You hold it gently. Of course, you don't want your iron to be too hot either.
So it's kind of like hair. You can kind of bend it and force it into a...
Absolutely.
Wow.
So there you have what was once a very thin feather is now
very full.
Feather. Now once we actually have all these feathers straight, come to the measuring. Basically what we want to do is with a little felt, we want to measure out a 1/4 inch at the bottom of the feather. Just a 1/4 inch. Okay, you'll need 16 packs of chopsticks.
I can't believe you use chopsticks.
Actually,
these are really great tips.
Actually,
you must be ordering a lot of Chinese. You're like, save that.
Honey. Oh yeah, oh definitely.
Yeah.
You sit there, you get lots of. Oh, it's wonderful. Now, so basically, what you do is you need some just regular old white glue.
Yeah.
And you get your glue. And you put some glue in there.
Fill it up.
A fair amount of glue. Yeah. You don't have to be dripping all over the place. And then you take your dowel or your chopstick, making sure the oval is front to back. So you don't want to be your oval to be sideways. You want to slide it in there. Yeah, we're going to mark off 1.5 inches right on the dowel. And we'll do this to every single feather, inch and a half. And you cut it off at that mark.
You're going to just cut it right there.
Right here.
Whoa, okay. So there we go. So that's, you would end up with 32 of these cut off 1.5 inch here, and then you'll have your shaft right here, and then your feather all nice and straight, and that's your first.
Yeah, that's your first feather.
Right.
What you want to do actually is after you get the first cut, you'll see it says 16 on the feather.
Yep.
You want to go at the bottom of the feather and actually put 16 there as well.
You're left-handed, huh?
Yeah. So
doesn't look like a 16. Looks like a big mushy dot. I thought it was going to write 16 on the bottom of that. I feel a little ripped off. There's a smiley face. He did a smiley face.
Right.
So Billy, you're going to show us how to attach hair onto a feather.
You need your glue and your feather.
This is really curly hair. It's my sister's hair. She's one of the producers.
We
just cut her hair off. Yeah.
And what you do is get a little bit of glue. And you put your glue, you dab your glue down.
Right.
Just a spot. Inch long.
Right.
And you take your hair. And this is really important that you do this. You lay your hair down. And you sort of roll it around a little bit. You want this whole 1/2 inch to be covered with hair. With
okay.
Glue. Hold down and put it there. After you have this on every last feather, you take your little felt spot, put this right over the hair.
Yeah. And then you squish it down again.
Yeah,
that is wonderful. And there you go. That is wonderful. And there you go. Where would you go from here?
This is the part where you actually start making the firecracker. Let's start with the smallest one.
Sure.
And let's mark.
So
again, a square, yes.
Okay.
And a little felt. And we mark it about 3 inches. Okay. Once we have the 3 inches, we start making the firecracker. This is another trade secret. You know, tape is just wonderful stuff.
So what kind of tape is that?
This here is double-sided adhesive tape.
Okay, so with the double-sided tape, you go to the 3 inch mark and you wrap around it, and then you make that part sticky, so you're going to be attaching something onto there.
Exactly.
Right.
And we need our plumes. Then you need 3 plumes for each feather. And then I sort of strip the bottom a little bit, about a 1/2 inch.
Do you want me to help you?
I'm sure you can strip the bottom.
Okay, about 1/2 inch?
Okay.
So you just rip off the little feathery part? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then what you do, what I do is you can use a pair of pliers, whatever, but I bite them.
You bite them?
To flatten them out.
Okay.
Flatten it out.
Right.
I was bitten already.
Oh. No, I don't want to get any Billy germs. I don't want to do that. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I have my limits on this show. All right.
Okay, so now once you have your plumes there, and you get your 2 plumes.
Yes.
Put them side by side.
Right.
Hold them very close, and you stick them down. Right.
And that adhesive stuff just makes them stick.
Now the important part of this is not going to hold it perfectly, so if you actually want to take the time, you want to get some really strong thread. you want to make sure that your plumes are not going to fall. And this is actually a really cool trick. Watch this. When you wrap your thread around,
right?
If you actually go really close to the top and you pull.
Oh my God! What happens is that the plume, when he pulls it, it forces all the plumes to expand and fills out the whole feather at the very bottom.
We're going to cut a bunch of leather bits for the firecracker. So we're looking at 4 1/4 inch. When you get your leather and you look at the front, make sure it's perfectly straight in the front. This is very important. You put it down just below the tape.
You can see that what Billy has done is he's left just a loop there.
The next step is wrapping the firecracker. Now we want to start on the one side and we're going to wrap past it.
It's like rolling a cigar.
Yeah, so you just roll it up like this. Okay, so basically what we've did is we wrapped the firecracker with the felt and now we're wrapping it with the ribbon floss.
Where do we go now that these have all been assembled and wrapped and decorated?
Okay, the next step is actually going to be the cap. You want it to fit close across the eyebrows, halfway along the ears, and back to the nape of the neck. I would suggest using a felt hat, but I of course used leather and I sewed it. So, you fold it in half and you make a mark.
Right.
Okay? And you take the side and you make a mark on the side again. So just basically fold it in half, fold it in half. This is actually where the firecracker is going to lay.
So 32 is for all the feathers.
Every last one.
Right.
And now once we actually have these spots all the way around, we create ourselves a ridge. It'll be 11 inches long. So I laid the bead strip right flush with the edge.
Okay, so now that you've done the beadwork.
We have the bead strip. Now it's
right?
actually popping the holes. This
Good.
is sort of really important. Make sure that you don't actually puncture your beadwork when you pop the holes. So you go in the side, the knife will stick out there.
Right.
So we take a piece of sinew, about say 2 feet long, and it's time to start adding the feathers at the very front.
Right.
We start with the largest feathers first.
Now you have the biggest to smallest feathers. What goes at the front?
Yeah, we start with the biggest at the front. Yeah.
Okay.
Only 31 more to go.
Only 31 more to go.
So basically I wrap it around. Let me show you that again. Wrap it twice, once, twice. Now basically that's the bonnet tied together like this.
Wow.
Right? So now we find the center of the bonnet here again. I took my razor and I actually pushed the razor through the feather like this. Make sure it was straight and actually went the whole length of the blade.
So this is a long deerskin strip and you're going to begin at the front. And what that does is this lacing is going to go into this spot here. So you get to this point and now you've got both equal levels of leather on either side?
Yes, we do. And then
Great.
we take our needle off and we basically pull them together.
Cool.
And we make it like that. We tie it here.
Wow, that is so beautiful, Billy. I can't believe how gorgeous that is. Thank you so much for being on, Billy.
Thank you
it's
very
been an
much.
absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.